Yes, sir, I will do that. So you can start.
Okay. So, welcome to Dream, Dare, and Do episode 5. Our theme today is From the Lab to the Market, Building India's Deep Tech Ecosystem. What is Dream, Dare, and Do series? Dream, Dare, Do is Vidya's monthly webinar series. It brings our students across all zones face to face with people who have actually built things, innovators, founders, scientists, and leaders in education and entrepreneurship. The three words frame one journey: dream, which is give yourself permission to imagine, dare, be willing to try and to fail, do, build it, ship it, and put it into the world. The deeper purpose is, however, to show our young people that curiosity and courage are not reserved for the elite institutions. They belong to every one of them. And to bring role models within an arm's reach of students who might otherwise never meet them. Why does this series sit under the Discovery Hub of Vidya? The series is part of a Vidya's Discovery Innovation Hub, the organization's dedicated home for hands-on innovation and future-ready skilling. Coming up in Gurgaon, the DIH is being built to house advanced skilling, a digital resource library, a tinkering and makerspace, entrepreneurship training, a startup and an incubation center, and a community auditorium all under one roof. We did not wait for the building to start the mission. Dream Dare Do is that mission already live and already running. It is, in effect, the hub before the building. Coming to today's theme, which is from the lab to the market, building India's deep tech ecosystem. How does a bold idea travel from a research bench?
Mayala, please mute everyone. Thank
Sir, can you unmute yourself? Sanjiv, sir.
Yeah. Coming to today's theme, from the lab to the market, building India's deep tech ecosystem. How does a bold idea travel from a research bench to something that actually changes people's lives, and who builds the bridges in between? This is exactly what today's conversation explores. Our guest and guiding light for our audience, Mr. Ashutosh Dutt Sharma, the Chief Executive Officer of IHFC, the Technology and Innovation Hub at IIT Delhi. What is IHFC? It's iHub Foundation for Cobotics, i.e., collaborative robotics, one of India's flagship deep tech hubs, backed by the Department of Science and Technology. It turns cutting edge research in robotics, AI, and deep tech into real startups and real products. As the leader, Ashutosh has personally walked the lab to market road. Before IHFC, he has spent nearly 2 decades building businesses at Samsung, Bharti Airtel, and IndiaMART. And as an alumni of IIT Delhi Department of Management Studies, today he helps hundreds of young founders make that same journey. It's a rare chance to learn the idea to product to market journey from someone who lives it every single day. Our esteemed interviewer, Professor Ashok Sharma, our own, I'm sure everyone is familiar with, the guiding this
Mr.
conversation
Dennis.
is a figure whose own life is a testament of Indian science and education. Professor Ashok, former director of IIT Bombay and a distinguished professor at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. I now hand over to Professor Misra to begin this exploratory conversation with Mr. Ashutosh. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjiv, for the kind introduction. And it's absolutely a pleasure to have Ashutosh with us, IIT alumnus and now contributing back to IIT. What I will do is I'll post some questions of my own, and then there are the questions from the students. We'll take that, and then if time permits, we'll take some questions from the audience. So Ashutosh, as you know, I've also spent a lot of time in the IT system, and there are lots of technologies which are sitting in the labs and they are waiting to be explored and changed into startups. So I see the iHub as the hub or the connector for all these things. So to begin with, you are the CEO of iHub, Foundation for Cobotics, big name. We'll call iHub for short, IHFC otherwise. Could you please elaborate what this IHFC mean to the audience?
Thank you, Professor Mishra, for the question. Thank you, Sanjiv, for a very kind introduction. And thanks, Vidya, for allowing me this opportunity to reach out to these young minds who are there, on this call today. Professor Mishra, I think this iHub is something which is a concept. I would like to thank Department of Science and Technology of Government of India and IIT Delhi to come up with this, very novel concept, and that we are a part of. I am a part of, at least. So I don't know how many of us are aware of it, but when it comes to research output which comes out in our country, we rank amongst the top 5 countries in the world, right? Sometimes we are number 3, sometimes we are number 4, sometimes we are number 5, and this has been there for at least last 10 years is what I know. But when it comes to the product which gets created out of this research, we are very, very far behind. Just to give you a context, we rank 37th in the innovation index in the world, which is what typically is a measure for how much innovation happens from the research which gets done by our country's researchers. So there's a big gap from being amongst the top 5 in the research and being able to translate that. It's a big gap. And I think this gap, when identified by the then secretary, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, in fact, again, he goes by the same name, and I'm honored to have the same name because I am trying to live his vision. So he incepted this idea of setting up hubs in the country who can play a role in bridging this gap, and that's how the inception of 25 innovation hubs came into picture, wherein Department of Science and Technology set up 25 technology innovation hubs in the country, and IHFC was set up in IIT Delhi. And on a lighter note, I understand that even VIDYA got incepted at IIT Delhi. So from that perspective, we are sort of a sister concern, and I'm glad to be in one of the forums wherein I am talking to members of VIDYA and students of VIDYA. So coming back to the story on iHub, the way it was set up. This was set up in 2020 under a mission called National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. Every hub was given a technology domain to work in. We were given the technology domain of cobotics. So we work in the area of robotics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, some of these technologies which enable cobotics. So, and when it was set up in 2020, there were 4 mandates that we were given with a good amount of funding that came to us and continues to come to us from Government of India. So first mandate was the translational oriented research. I don't know how many of us are aware of it, but just to give a brief background on the way research works. So when somebody thinks of an idea and starts working on research, it is called technology readiness level 1. And when the research becomes a product or an output, it is called technology readiness level number 9. So there is a journey from technology readiness level number 1 till technology readiness level number 9. So if there is a technology which we are just thinking of, for example, a lot of people think of, using different gases for, fuel. We are talking about ethanol as a fuel for our cars. So some of these are concepts, right? But when it reaches the market, then it becomes TRL 9, where the technology is deployed, right? So a lot of technologies were being worked upon, they were created and were reaching technology readiness level number 4. But beyond that, taking it to level 9 is something that we are not very good at as a country, because it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of perseverance, it requires a lot of passion, it requires a lot of dedication, and that's what enables some of these technologies to go into the market. Let me tell you, a lot of countries across the globe, they have built an ecosystem already, which they are now relishing with respect to some of these technology coming out. When we look at some of these critical technologies that we use ourselves in our daily lives, I don't see many of them have been developed in our country. And that is one big gap that our country has. And that is where the youth which is listening to this conversation, they can probably make a very big impact in. And that's the reason I was very excited when I was told that this is something that I am going to be asked about, and I would be able to interact with these young minds from Vidya. So I was talking about the mandates which we were given. So first mandate was research and development. So take the technology readiness level 4 plus technologies to TRL 9 is what first mandate was. The second mandate was, as a part of this journey, can we incubate and accelerate few startups? Because when we have to take a technology to the market, somebody has to take a risk. Somebody has to build a startup, be market facing, take that convert that technology into a product, and then take it to the market. So that's what our second mandate was. Third mandate was capability building, which suggests that if we have to bring these products into the market in some of these upcoming technology domains, we would need to have a very capable workforce which understands this technology inside out and can build products based on these technologies so that they can be a positive impact in the society. So that's what our third mandate was. The fourth mandate was international collaborations, which typically meant that there are countries wherein we need to learn from, because there are countries like United States of America, Japan, who are way ahead of us when it comes to some of these technology developments and their translations and the products that we utilize in our daily life. So how we can learn from them and how we can enable some of the countries which are probably falling behind even our country, including some of the countries in Africa, Southeast Asia. How do we help them out? So these are the 4 mandates that we started working with. Today, after almost 6 years, we have close to about 65 R&D projects that we are working on across 30 institutes in the country.
Wow.
Since we are set up by Government of India, we are not an entity which is focused only on IIT Delhi. It's one of the institutes that we focus on for working in this domain. But we work with 30 more institutes in the country. We have 55 startups that we have incubated or accelerated. They are all, again, in various parts of the country. We have trained more than 1 lakh students through various programs on these deep technologies. And these students, they vary from school level to even graduate students and even the workforce that gets included. We are working with some of the renowned countries in the world. Sorry, yeah, Professor Misra, you have something.
No, I'll ask you these questions later also.
Okay, sorry. We are working with some of the prominent countries and organizations in the world, including United States of America, wherein we have worked with the National Science Foundation, a very renowned organization which does a lot of research work through the US universities. We work with International Telecommunication Union, which is a United Nations body. We work with Robotics, which is one of the very renowned cluster for robotics based out of Denmark. We work with NATO Japan, which is government of Japan's entity. We work with the government of Vietnam. We have our own campus in Abu Dhabi. We are trying to expand there. We have recently conducted a training program in 5 countries in Africa. It was a Google project which was executed by International Telecommunication Union through us. We are their partner for AI for Good. So a lot of things that we are working on. Would love to talk more about it. But over to you, Professor Misra.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such a amazing thing that you have described, and I have visited your center, which is very good, and I encourage other people to come and see it. So what Ashutosh and IHF has done is absolutely fantastic, something worth to emulate. Tell me, we use the word cobotics. I only learned cobotics by coming in touch with you. So can you did describe it, but what is this new term cobotics? Iska matlab kya hai?
Got it. No, so I think let me share with you that cobotics was a concept incepted when these hubs were being set up, and it was incepted because there were many hubs who were planning to get into this domain of robotics and AI, including IIT Bangalore, which you are a part of right now. And since IIT Delhi has its own strength in this domain, so Department of Science and Technology came up with this term. And it essentially means collaborative robotics, which means humans and machines working together, and machines and machines working together. So I don't know if some of the students would have definitely seen that Iron Man and the Spider-Man movie, wherein a lot of drones, they come in, they talk to each other, and they attack the villain in the movie. And there are many such incidences that talk about how in fact even today's warfare between Russia, Ukraine, whether it is or Iran and Israel, some of these warfares use some of these drones which talk to each other. They do not require any intervention from human being. There are machines which require a human intervention, and we see that how they can work at tandem. So this is the technology domain which deals with this particular domain.
So on the lighter side, can we say the Russia-Ukraine war is actually a cobotics war that's going on?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Oh,
and
wow.
As we move ahead, I think more and more wars will be cobotics dependent, or machine dependent, so to say, at least, and less human dependent.
So iHub is the technology innovation hub now set up at IIT Delhi. So IIT Delhi would be, I believe, would be the biggest beneficiary. Please tell us how the technologies from the labs of IIT Delhi go for transformation and this translation 8, 9, and so on and so forth, and how they would be for the benefit. At the end of the day, it has to be benefit of the society, whichever way you look at it. So if you can tell us how IIT Delhi would be the beneficiary of iHub as an example, take it forward. And of course, you're working with other institutes, but as an example.
Sure, absolutely, yes. And I'll probably give you an example from IIT Delhi itself. So there is a plate bending machine which has been created in IIT Delhi lab. Now, what that does is, and it's a very simple concept, that you give a schematic diagram of a plate to be bent in various angles, and the machine does it based upon the diagram that has been fed to that. Now, this as a technology is built, for example, in IIT Delhi Technology Lab, but we saw a very good application for this particular aspect, wherein if there is an orthopedic surgeon, and I'm sure most of the students would know orthopedic surgeons, जब कहीं पे हड्डी टूट जाती है, कहीं पे उसको जोड़ना पड़ता है, तो orthopedic surgeons जो होते हैं, they are the ones who do the treatment. So what happens is that every one of us, has a very different body contour, and each one of us has a very different body contour. So when they are joining the bones, it cannot be one size fits all kind of a instrument which can be utilized to join the bones together. So what we do is that the MRI of the broken area and the X-ray of the broken area is fed to the machine. The plate is put in that machine, and the contours of that plate are taken from the MRI and the X-ray of that patient, and it is bent on its own, and the final product is there with the surgeon in few minutes. Now, this entire work was being done by orthopedic surgeons, before this. So orthopedic surgeons, they take that plate, they see the contour of the bone of that respective patient, then they bring those hammers and chisels and everything with them in their operating room. They bend it, turn it, maneuver it, but everything of that sort will be done by this machine. Now,
wow.
it's about the application that we are looking at, for utilizing the same technology. It can have multiple application areas, but the journey is not yet complete, because it is not only the concept which sells. It's also about the convenience. It is also about how cost advantageous can we be for these surgeons, because they are the end users. So the journey has just begun. But we are very sure that a lot of feedback which is still coming in from the doctors, we'll be able to keep on improving this product, so that it keeps on getting more and more relevant for the users, which is the orthopedic surgeons in this case.
So one important point that you pointed out with this example is that it's not just the engineers, but the doctors, engineers, at least two professions which are quite widely apart in our country, have to come together for new technologies.
Absolutely,
So this is the interdisciplinary approach.
especially in the
Amazing.
medical and healthcare. I think doctors is the user group, and unlike any one of us, and I don't blame them, they do not have time. So,
Yes.
what we typically try and do is we run a lot of programs wherein we are able to bring these two professions together. We are able to identify some of these problem areas that they are able to bring out. We are able to align the innovators with these doctors. In fact, even in the example that I quoted for the orthopedic plate bending machine, a doctor, very renowned doctor from Maulana Azad Medical College, is immensely involved in building this product. And not only when the product has come out, but also the improvement areas which are coming in. He is involved in testing it on a daily basis and giving a feedback as to this is not working fine, this is not absolutely precise, this is something additional that can be done. So I think, but this sort of patient's input feedback, closing the feedback loop mechanism is required for a product development.
Right. So IHFC or iHub is a standalone Section 8 company, and I would say it's under the aegis of IIT Delhi, supported by DST and so on. What's your relationship with the institute? Are you part of the institute, or are you not part of the institute, but you're on the campus?
So we are completely owned by IIT Delhi. So to say, in legal terms, we are 100% owned by IIT Delhi.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yes.
Okay, so as you also said, iHub was funded by DST, and this is under the National Mission of Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems. Big mouthful. If you can just elaborate on that.
So
it's a national mission, actually.
So even we took a lot of time to get used to of this term and the acronym, and even today we fumble sometimes. So I'll be very honest with you, but I think the underlying principle was that when we are talking about a technology advancement, it is both hardware and software which has to play an important role in the technology advancement phase, wherein cyber talks about the soft part of it, and physical talks about the hard part of a technology development. And unless and until we are focusing on both the aspects of technology development, we are not going to reach anywhere. So that was the underlying principle while this national mission was set up. And we have many national missions, which are set up by Government of India, which run on a mission mode, sort of a way. And this one was specifically focused to change the culture in our country, from only doing research to translating research into something meaningful for the society. Yes.
Excellent. So iHub is expected to bring together academia, which is IIT Delhi, government, which is DST, and the industry together. How do you bring the industry? Industry is sometimes not so easy to bring to the table of academics.
No, absolutely, yes. And when we talk about government, academia also, It is not only IIT Delhi. As I mentioned, we work with 30 institutes in the country only for R&D projects. We have almost 14 innovation centers, 4 specifically into medical and 10 co-innovation centers, and 1 drone technology park, which exists as a facility, as an infrastructure, and across as many locations in the country. And when we talk about government, it's not only DST that we work along with. We work with many ministries within the country. So we work for 5 state governments. We work for Ministry of Defense and many more ministries, so to say, as a part of the program. But the question is how to get industry on board. I think one fundamental principle to get industry on board is to show them profit. If we are able to build certain technologies, if we are able to build certain products which can add value to an industry, and when I say add value, it means it can be a profit making or a revenue generating mechanism for an industry, they would love to see that. We work with a lot of industry partners. Yeah. So to make that happen.
Perfect. So the other question I would like to ask is a big buzzword. We always say Atmanirbhar Bharat and so on. And I can see, but I want to hear from you. How does iHub and missions of this nature will enthuse the young minds towards Atmanirbhar Bharat? Because only when you have startups and all that, they are homegrown technologies, homegrown people. And I mean, Atmanirbhar Bharat is by Bharat residents, right?
So, I was sharing the example, on some of the drones. Let me just share an example which is the most relevant for us as a country. For example, we are almost 150 crore people. The census, output is not yet out, but I'm just assuming it will be close to this number. So the highest, number of people that any country has in the world, that's what we are. And when it comes to the healthcare, which is the most essential, part of our existence, we import 90% plus of the healthcare equipments today. And this is just one example. When we talk about defense, when we talk about automobiles, I think we are very much dependent on the outside countries for any technology development. The concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat is that we start building for ourselves and we are proud to use that. I think both the aspects need to be covered together to ensure that we become Atmanirbhar. Because today there is a concept that if it is a German or an American or a Japanese product, it is far more superior as compared to an Indian product. I think we have to break those shackles. We need to create those products which are high class, which are highly trustworthy, 100% reliable, and are able to beat any product in the world. And that's the emotion, that's the passion we want to instill in all the innovators of ours. And I must tell you, we have a lot of products. We talk about Zoho as a platform, for example. They are in China today, right? They're one of the most competitive countries and one of the most difficult country for an Indian company to be in. So we have numerous such examples wherein we have showed that our products can be world class and can beat any other product in the world. But we need to instill that in each one of us to ensure that us as an innovator, we have that faith, that confidence to bring such products to the market.
And this automatically leads to my next question, which is, after your Atmanirbhar, then you have to be Viksit Bharat.
Absolutely.
So that is 2047, we should...
If we are Atmanirbhar, nobody can stop us from being Viksit. So that is, and I mean, they go hand in hand.
And the role iHub will play in that?
So I would not call ourselves a very large player. I think Government of India, they have multiple departments, multiple ministries who are all working at tandem to make that happen. But I think we are playing our part, that we have been designated with by the Department of Science and Technology and by IIT Delhi to ensure that we are able to change that culture to whatever extent we can, to the number of innovators that we come in touch with and the kind of success stories that we are able to build.
So you also mentioned that you work with several institutions, 50 plus and so on. how can Vidya, which is a school, with the alumni and colleges and all that, how can Vidya students and alumni uh, be benefited by your schemes? I would like you to give this message to our youngsters.
Absolutely, yes. So, see, we typically, when it comes to innovation life cycle, we typically start when you have reached the final year of your engineering. We do not want to get into the innovation life cycle before you have finished your graduate studies, because innovation, the process of innovation is a very risky proposition. So I'm telling you, it brings a lot of accolades, it brings a lot of learning, wealth as well, many cases. But the journey is is a very, very tough journey. We need to be prepared for that. So we need to ensure that we have reached at a stage wherein we are able to hold ourselves together as a human being to take this journey on. Now we have programs like Ready program. So first of all, I would request people to look at technology as one of the things that they would like to imbibe as their career, in their life. So, technology is something which has made the biggest change to human being in the last 200 years, even before that, but more so in the last 200 years. And in the future also, I think technology it will be the biggest driver for bringing change to the way we live our life on a daily basis, whether it is the cars or the mobile phones or the Google or whatever we use in our everyday life. Technology has the maximum impact. So please see technology as one of your career options, in case especially you are inclined towards science and mathematics. Once you have got into some graduation degree, please invest first 3 years into learning what exactly you are supposed to learn in the field of technology, because only then you will be able to apply that. When you reach your final year, that's when we come into picture. We have a program called Ready program, research and entrepreneurship development program for you, wherein we instill some of the sense of commercialization, entrepreneurship capabilities into you at that stage. And post that, once you are onto that journey, we help you at every stage, whether it is incubation of a startup, whether it is funding, whether it is taking to the market, connecting it to the right stakeholders.
Thank you so much. Now I have a lot of questions from the student. These were basically what I was asking. Short answers, because many of the things you have answered already, but I want to encourage the students and also ask. So there's a student, Gaurav, from class 12. He says, for students who want a career in deep tech and innovation, what knowledge, skills, and experience should they begin developing at schools and colleges? So the short answers, because lots of questions.
Absolutely, yes. I think, as I have stated this early, you have to build an affinity for technology. You need to be ready to learn both the cyber and physical aspects of it. You should. It's an interdisciplinary thing. I think the way engineering discipline has evolved, we have electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, computer science engineer. But as we move along, I think interdisciplinary approach is something which is important. So make a lot of friends in the other branches. If you opt for, say, for example, computer science engineering, have a lot of friends in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, because all of you only put together can build some of these interdisciplinary products.
So Anish from class 10 wants to know that during your school years, what inspired you to pursue science and technology?
Okay, so I think the biggest motivation for me was my father. My father was an engineer, and he used to work for irrigation department of one of the states in the country. And I saw him, being a part of, building a lot of bridges, canals, making impact in everyday life of farmers, because the irrigation department is supposed to ensure that the right amount of water reaches the right set of fields, in the area of jurisdiction that the person has, and they are able to take care of the crops which are growing. So some of these things, these impacts, they motivated me. And at the same time, I think affinity for mathematics was another reason why I opted for science and engineering as my career option.
Great. Also today, farming and AI is also becoming a big subject.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. We had a call yesterday, in fact, wherein researchers were presenting their solutions to make changes in how we do farming today. Very, very innovative concepts.
Wow.
Yes, using even robots for farming and, a lot of everyday utility that they can
Yeah.
bring into everyday life.
So Basavani, a scholarship student in the BTech, she wants to know, with AI evolving so rapidly, which skills should a computer science student focus on over the next 5 years? Because there's
See,
AI and Internet of Things and this and that.
See, AI is evolving very fast. So, a couple of things that you should ensure as a computer science graduate, I would say. One is keep your fundamentals ready, right? So, whatever gets evolved, whatever technology comes in, the fundamentals don't change. That's one. Number two, be open to change, right? The technology is evolving fast, but you should be ready to adopt any new thing which comes in. If you are ready to change, you will be able to adapt and you will be able to
Perfect.
succeed in whatever you are trying to do. And third thing is, do not stick only to soft knowledge. I mentioned, I think, in one of the previous answers also, be close to other engineering graduates also, study some bit of electronics, some bit of a mechanical. At least be aware of some of those concepts, because the modern world or the future is all about cyber physical. It's not about only AI or only software or only hardware. It's all about cyber physical.
Yeah, very good. Rishabh from class 12, how can a school student start learning about technology, robotics, innovations without access to advanced resources? That means some side reading, and what do they need to do?
See, today you don't need a lot of efforts to learn these things. At least I can talk when I was doing my graduation. Some of these things like internet and all, they were very expensive and very elusive. They were not available to everybody. Today you have internet available to you at the click of a button. A lot of you use it on your mobile phones. You can use cyber cafes or some computers that you can buy and get an internet connection easily. So try utilizing some of the available resources. There are many available resources which government runs free of cost. There are courses like NPTELs. Some of these platforms, they run these courses free of cost. Identify your choices, your area of interest. Do bit of a cursory study to start with, because sometimes when you go deeper you lose interest. But if you keep on getting interest, identify the new resources which are available online with you, and that's one of the best easily and inexpensive source which is available to you guys.
Perfect. I hope students are imbibing these answers. They're excellent answers. So which emerging technologies will create the greatest opportunity for India's youth in the next 10 years?
So I would not name one, because most of them are very, very related. But as I mentioned, cyber physical, somebody who has the capacity to understand hardware and build a software or an intelligent solution, which is, artificial intelligence, we call it nowadays. Somebody who has the capability to understand a physical system and build an AI for that is the one who is going to rule the world in the field of technology.
Very good. If a student has a good idea, this is Siddharth Ramapalli Yadav. If a student has a good idea but no funding towards startup and so on, how does one get going? They have a great idea, but where do you go for getting some seed funding? What are the first steps to try and turn it into a real product?
As to what level of studies this person has already done. But I would request you to wait until you have at least done majority of your graduation complete before you start getting into that domain. That's one. Second is, if you have reached that level already, there are many programs that government of India has. For example, there are many seed funding scheme, even before you have created a startup. So there are a lot of schemes which are from Ministry of Electronics and IT, which exist. There are many schemes which, after you have registered a startup, you register yourself with DPIIT. That's an entity under the Niti Aayog. If you register your startup under that, then you get access. You get an access to a lot of funds. Once you have built a certain amount of readiness in your technology, there is a much larger fund that Government of India recently announced called RDI fund, which is close to about 20,000 crores per year for the next 5 years. So it's a huge amount. There's a lot of money which is available through various schemes. You just need to be passionate, dedicated, and determined to solve a problem for your society. I'm telling you, funding will not be a challenge for you.
Very good. Now here's a tricky one. Different one. How can students from non-technical background contribute to the deep tech industry? Because deep tech industry will involve everyone. So how can they be part of that journey?
So I used to work for a company called Samsung. So it makes mobile phones, tablets, ACs, a lot of consumer electronic products as well. I used to be a part of the mobile division, and we used to feel that what actually sells in the market. Why do people buy Apple, or why do people buy Samsung, or why do people buy any other mobile phone that they intend to buy? And one thing which became very important was that it's not only technology that sells, right? It's how the technology is presented to the consumer which sells as well. Rather, sometimes people were of the opinion how you present the technology sells more as compared to the technology itself. For example, the biggest unique selling proposition, we call it USP in the marketing world, for an Apple phone is the user interface of Apple. And user interface, it's not a technologist who can ever design. It will only be a design student or an art student who has much more, I would say, aptitude to build a user-friendly interface, which can make that happen. So it's never technology in a standalone feature which is going to sell. It's the technology with aesthetics which is going to sell, and that's where the non-tech people are very, very critical as a part of this journey of evolution of technology.
Very good. I can also add to that, but time is short.
Please.
But a very good answer. And so all of you have an opportunity to be part of the so-called digital age that's going on. So many technically brilliant innovations sometimes fail because they don't solve problems people actually face. Any thoughts on that? Because sometimes also the technologically very advanced things come, but they may be ahead of their times and so on. I mean, I'll give you one example. Kodak made the digital camera.
Yes.
Kodak made the digital camera, but they abandoned it because they thought it was ahead of its time.
Yes.
And then Kodak company went.
Yes. No, I can again quote examples from my own field. I used to work for Airtel. Then BlackBerry came in. It used to be something which everyone was fond of, and even BlackBerry was no more. After Apple came in, and then they evolved so much that all the USPs of BlackBerry were gone. So I think the most important aspect for a product to be a success is the timing. You rightly mentioned, if you are too late, then you are gone. If you are too early, then nobody picks you up. So the timing is absolutely critical. And if you need to master the timing, you need to know your customers very well. Rather, when we talk to the innovators, we tell them to talk to their customers before building a product for them. A lot of people, they build a product and then say, now we are going to sell it to the relevant customers. I say, no. You have to first know the problem from the customer. You understand that problem exactly. You build a solution for that, and then you sell in the market.
Good. Many students and many startup, especially startup students, are afraid of failure, so they don't want to do the startup. So how would you, what advice you would give them? Did you face failures? Did I face failures? Yes, I did. Did you? How did you deal with that? How do startups? Because you've seen many startups which would have failed.
Yes.
But they bounce back and so on. So
yes. So I'm telling you, number one, failure is a part of our life. So we should never be scared of failures. At least at this age, I can tell maybe when I was your age, I would have talked otherwise. But at this stage, I can tell you that, failure is imminent. It is not something which you can avoid in your life. So it is going to come to you. So you should not be scared of failures. Get into a startup. If you are passionate, persistent, and fond of what you are doing, I am sure the success will find you. So please don't worry about failures. There are so many examples of startups who were lying low. They were almost bankrupt. You name one company, for example, Apple, it was about to be sold off. You name one company, like Google, they were supposed to be bought by Yahoo at a very minuscule amount at one point in time, wherein they were not making any money. And today you know about them, right? They are behemoths. They are bigger than many countries' economies in the world. So I think never be scared of failures. Accept them as a milestone in your life, thrive on them, and only then you will become successful.
Very good. India has exceptional engineering talent, but very few deep tech startups are there, which you already answered. But are they going to be globally recognized in the near future, you think?
Absolutely, yes. I think one of our own startup, I don't know how many of you have seen that there's a startup called BotLab Dynamics. They are into
Yes.
drone swarming. They have traveled almost like 15 countries to do the drone shows. They hold the Guinness Book of World Record for not anymore. I'm sorry. There is a Chinese company which has overtaken them very recently. So they were the first one to create a drone show of 5,000 plus drones in the world. And
Yes.
even today they are trying to break the record, of that Chinese company. And I can name many companies. I talked about Zoho. There are many companies who have made their mark in the world. It is about the passion, the ambition that the startup has, that the founder has. And I think the world is something which is not something that we cannot convince win. Sorry.
Yeah. Deep tech startups in robotics and AI face sometimes limited funding, infrastructure, and sometimes long development cycles. How can the startup people be encouraged or not discouraged to take this path?
No, so I would not call this a problem today because of the kind of funds that I have talked about, right? And one of the complaint, even today there are complaints that the process in the government is a little slow in terms of disbursal and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to say is that the change is happening in a positive direction. So when we talk maybe a year down the line, the process itself would be much more smooth. The fundings will be much more larger. So as we move along, and some of you might reach that stage in 3 or 4 years, so please don't worry. We are moving in the right direction as a country, and there are enough opportunities and funds available for the deep tech startups which are getting built in our country.
Perfect. So I'll ask one more question, and then we'll open it to the viewers. So Behala, please coordinate the questions from wherever they come from. And students, be ready to ask. Raise your hand, stand up, or whatever. So India has one of the world's youngest population, which is in our favor. What we call bright young people. What message would you give to these young students? What they should do in the next 15, 20, 10 to 20 years, let's say, and go towards Viksit Bharat and Atmanirbhar Bharat, all that. What last message you would like to give it? Oh, you've said many things, but just one last.
No, I'll share with you, what I share with many innovators who come to us, and whenever they feel that sometimes they get demotivated as well with some failures and all that stuff. But the most important thing for you is to not get a job. In case you are good, there will be hundreds of people who would be ready to give you a job. The biggest satisfaction comes in when you are able to provide job to others, and startups is that platform which enables you to do that. So be a job giver, a job enabler. If that is what you dream for, I think nobody is going to stop you ever in your life.
Fantastic last word. Thank you. Last message. Okay, over to you, Mehala, and to the students. We have about 8-10 minutes, so we can.
So I think Sir Praveen wanted to ask some question. Praveen, you can go
Okay.
for your question.
So, good morning, sir.
Good
First of
morning,
all,
Praveen.
and sir, I am very excited to. I have actually two ideas. First one is about hardwares, and the second one is about a software with more than 270 plus AI agents. So first, let me explain the hardware. Uh, Let me change the setting first, please.
But please be brief, huh?
Uh,
You can ask the question first, then I'll ask you the leading questions to make me give you an answer. What is your question?
so here in front of here in the hands, I have a modern mobile phone motherboard. As we can see, the material in which all the components like processor and RAM are surface mounted. Okay, and the board is made from the material called FR4. So there are tech, and as we see, all of the motherboards in the world are made from the seeds of FR4. So why don't we just keep this away and design a new system? Like this is the FR4 in which we place components. So if we design a new system where the FR4 is like a pipe, a square pipe, a rectangle pipe, or any hexagon, pentagon in which we can mount surface mount components, it would really save space. And I have designed a system in which, so I try to compare the raw power with world most powerful AI server, which is
Okay.
B300.
All right.
So when I tried, so if we go with the dual side technology, means
Yeah.
half the components are the first phase and half the components are on the second phase.
So
We
प्रवीण,
can
मैं आपको थोड़ा सा
Okay.
कट करूंगा यहाँ पे. एक तो आप मुझे ये कर सकते हैं, अपना एक मैं आपको ईमेल शेयर करूंगा और मे बी आप मेहाला मैडम से भी ले सकते हैं. आप मुझे लिखिए एंड देन वी कैन रिस्पॉन्ड टू यू इन डिटेल. बट टू कट my answer short and say that when we build any product which goes into hundreds of products, changing the shape would require all those hundreds and thousands of products to be changed.
no sir, no sir,
Which
no sir. All
No,
the
no,
technologies exist.
listen, Praveen,
All
we'll
the
do this
technology
offline
like
because there are others asking questions.
okay, so FR4 pipes, like
Praveen,
FR4 pipes already exist. So all the tech exists. We just need to merge them, and it would give us a system which is far more powerful than the old ones.
So let me
Yeah.
understand this a little bit more through your email, and probably then I'll respond to you on this particular question, right? Because it requires a lot more deliberation as compared to the time that we have today, probably.
Right.
Okay, sir, I have one more also, and we
No,
can
wait,
also talk on that.
Praveen, we have to have other people. Sorry, thank you so much. I have
Thank
to
you,
cut
sir.
you off.
Sir, as such, there are no student questions. So Nandini is asking one question, but
Yeah.
sir, I have given the list in that. There are some interesting questions are there. So question number 11, if you can ask that.
Okay, I've asked almost all of them. Oh, so okay, this one I didn't do because see, if
Yeah.
a smart footwear device is built to help people with walking difficulties, improve balance and mobility, what are the biggest technical and commercial challenges in making it from prototype to market? Again, this is a product based.
Yeah,
question.
but I don't think there are any challenges. In case you want to build it, you should.
Yeah.
And there are many products which are available in the market today. So what you have to build as a product, you have to see how is your product better than the existing products in the market.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Nandini?
Hello. Yes, sir. I have put my question in the chat box, but let me ask that to sir as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much for presenting the webinar, sir. Wonderful. It was very thoughtful to hear the answers which you have given us today. So my question is that for any budding engineer or a student from the science background, so which books on a fundamental basis or on an intermediate level which you can refer for them to involve themselves in design thinking and innovation. So which book would you prefer, or which book has interested you the best actually?
See, to be very frank, I have not read any book on design thinking myself till now. Also, just to give you a background on design thinking, it's a very celebrated concept which came in from the Stanford University. So a lot of professors have written on design thinking starting from Stanford University, but essentially it talks about having customer at the center of any, designing of the product or any decision that you are making in the innovation life cycle. And since there are a lot of students who are trying to study design thinking, there are different sort of complexity with which the same thing is tried being explained. So I have heard students, even before class 10th, 12th, they want to learn design thinking. So there are certain books which have been written for that. There are graduate students who want to learn design thinking. There are certain set of books which are written for that. I would not prescribe that. I think you can use some of the resources which are available even online on design thinking, contextual to the kind of age that the student is at right now. And then you can utilize them to make them aware of the concept of design thinking.
Perfect. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I believe there are no other questions and time is also running short. My one request to you would be, can some group of students in small groups, 10, 20, whatever you like, can they come and visit your iHub to get a little more enthused, those who are interested in the startup culture?
No, absolutely. We can plan for that. Yes.
Perfect. So, Ela, here is a job for you. Thank you so much. Okay, thanks, Ashutosh, for an absolutely wonderful. I learned a lot myself. I knew some of the answers, but not all of them. But what you're doing in the iHub at IIT Delhi, it's amazing. I have visited your center, and I'm sure that in that you have done 6 years, for another 4 years. So in a decade, you would have made a huge mark in the ecosystem of startups, technologies developed, transferred, and towards the Viksit Bharat and Atmanirbhar Bharat business. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, for a wonderful webinar.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Misra, for being, such a wonderful, host, inviting me to this platform and your kind words. And we keep on seeking, mentorship from, eminent people like you. You yourself have seen so many institutions evolve, during your lifetime. So we would like to seek some of those feedback that you would like to give to us and improve ourselves much better.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I just want to, for the audience also to know that the incubator, Sign Incubator, Society for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at IIT Bombay, which has now become a model for other incubators.
True.
Before the Section 8 company business started, was started at my time, it is my encouragement.
Yes.
So I've always encouraged entrepreneurship. Over to Sanjiv to wind up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashok ji and Ashutosh ji, for opening up and firing the minds of our young audience to shed light on the path ahead, highlighting and addressing the challenges ahead and the guidance as well as resources which could be made available to Vidya and hence to them on this exciting journey from from lab to market to make our youth future ready. Particularly, I liked, I've kind of related to or found interesting a few things that you said, Ashutosh ji. One about the capability of building, which is so wonderful and relates to what we are trying to do. So I see synergies there. The second one, you talked of very beautiful about instilling the faith that we can be the best in the world. Changing that mindset that we are nowhere to where we are today. So that was really very, very exciting for me. Third, that you cleared up for the students or the audience is that there is enough funding. That, this is a mindset we all have when we get into this journey, whether to learn or whether to build a startup. That funding is going to be a challenge because you don't have that. And that seems the biggest, hurdle or a mountain to climb. The last one that you talked of, the Indian startup on drones, which you mentioned, with live example of the fact that you actually could be one of the best in the world. So this is really, really exciting, very insightful and invigorating, I'm sure, for the audience. I do see some, these critical synergies in what IHFC is doing and what Vidya is creating at our Discovery and Innovation Hub. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that building, that the facility that's coming up.
I did.
It's amazing that we are trying to get the children future ready on the path to what you are doing for the students or for the your audience. Therefore, this can, if we co-create, so to say, we could have so many more beneficiaries and so many more success stories. We also have that link of IIT, which is common for both of us. So I really look forward. Thanks once again for your time and sharing your valuable insights, knowledge, and experience. Really an enriching experience today in this conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malik.